Hello there.
Hey,
Testing.
whoever said testing's coming in good.
Okay.
I think that was Art.
No, that was Fire Chief. Sorry.
Was it?
You're good. Well, imagine that. Everybody's here but Rob.
And we set up a special way to be able to do the Excel spreadsheet just for Rob.
Oh.
I was here. I don't know where he was.
We've lost Rob.
Yeah, he was.
Well, you can go ahead and do the special call and he'll be here for the budget, I assume.
All right. Well, we've got a special call scheduled for 5 o'clock, and that says it's 5 o'clock. So we'll call this meeting to order this May the 14th, 2020. And let Valerie just keep up with whoever shows up. We've got 2 consent agenda items. One is ordinance third reading in reference to the residency requirements for retail liquor stores to make us legal. And the other one is ordinance on the second reading for closing the unimproved right-of-way on 112 Webb Avenue. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the agenda items as presented.
I'll second it.
And I got a second. I believe that was Scott.
Yep.
And
Rob's here.
we
now.
have to do a roll call vote. Rob's here.
Yes, there he is.
Hey, Rob. Okay.
Councilmember Graham?
We're working on the consent agenda items. Oh, go ahead.
We ready?
Go ahead, roll call, Valerie. I'm
Councilmember
ready.
Graham?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Councilmember Graham?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrison?
I'm sorry, I'm just now able to hear you.
Yeah, he doesn't know what we're voting on.
We're voting on the consent agenda.
Then I vote aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Gert?
Aye.
Councilmember Shanks?
Aye.
Mayor Mayberry?
Aye. Consent agenda items are approved. The next item on our agenda is other business, which is approval of a temporary street closure. Grinder House request West 5th Street from West Avenue to Rector to be closed and Rector from 5th to 4th Street to be closed for a block party, a musical event. And I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Do I hear a second? I heard
Second.
a second from somebody. Was that
Rob. Me. Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Okay. Any further discussion in reference to this item?
What's the date of
date?
the block party?
There we go.
Your date is the 29th with an alternate of June 12th. And of course, all of this is contingent on us going into the right phases to allow this kind of entertainment to move ahead. And they're aware of that contingency.
As in the
It is
29th
supposed
of
to
May,
be-
I think.
Supposed to be Garth Brooks' daughter, I believe, is supposed to be the featured entertainer.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Graham? Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Gert?
Aye.
Councilmember Shanks?
Aye.
Mayor Mayberry?
Aye. Is there anything else that needs to come before this special call meeting? Hearing none, the special call is adjourned and we will now proceed to our budget meeting. Do you want to lead that off, Mr. Manager?
All right, you all were given, some folks have hard copies, some have the electronic copy. Sorry, didn't shut my radio off. What we have right now is a balanced budget. There isn't the one-time pay raise bonus is not in there. There is a slight surplus, but I anticipate once, just to make sure if there's anything that we missed, be able to cover. But once we get through that, and if we have any surplus, that needs to be cut out and the revenue adjusted, because when we did this, things were looking a little brighter, and I feel more comfortable ratcheting those revenue numbers down a little bit more. As we go through the individual line items, you'll see that there's maybe something in the left-hand column, but nothing in the right-hand column because I did not put funding in for those items. We will have to go back later and put those in a bucket. And if we have funding, pull them out, or if there's some kind of equipment failure, we would have to address that by going into our reserves and fund it that way, since there's not going to be any extra meat in the budget to cut.
Would you say what the reserves are?
That's Fred. That's a Fred question. I don't have it in front of me.
You're talking about reserves as far as what the revenue over expenditures are? Or are you talking about what kind of cash we got in the checking account?
Fund balance.
Fund balance is roughly-
Available fund balance for that's not committed to, for example, bond backup.
We haven't committed any of our fund balance to anything, so it's roughly around 12 million.
But I thought we had like 7 million earmarked for keeping our bond rating.
We have a cash there, but we've never just come right out and said this is going to be used for anything. It's just sitting there. It's not been designated, let me put it that way.
Okay, so, but if we did draw that down, then it would presumably affect our
Yes, it would
bond rating.
It would certainly affect your bond rating when we get around to doing that, yes.
Did I dream the 7 million, or did I 7.5 maybe?
7, I think, is what it is.
Fred, this is JH. At the end of February, the fund balance in the general fund was $14,472,000. Are you anticipating a $2.5 million decrease between February the 29th and June 30th?
No, sir. I was just going on what we had talked about probably last year and kept thinking, well, it's around 12 million. So 14.5 is probably where we'll be. I'd say 14 because we do have some note payments and stuff that just came out.
And is that just general fund? It's not.
That's just general fund, Mr. Harrison.
Okay.
Well, my philosophy going into this budget was I was not going to go into a deficit budget, considering the questionable revenues we had and the expenses that may come up over the next 6 months, not knowing what's going to happen. So I took a rather draconian approach, quite honestly. And I think we can always amend the budget the other way, but I think we need to start off with the realization that we're going to have our revenues impacted. And we also took on a $600,000 unfunded pay plan that there was no additional revenues brought on board to handle that. So that's why you have the 10-cent property tax increase, which covers about 2/3 of that. There was also going to be a discussion about the debt, and I don't know if y'all wanted to launch into that first, or you want to hold that off till afterwards. That was because that was a Rob issue.
Somewhere I missed that, and it's being downloaded on my phone right now. So slowly. Why don't we, at this juncture, since we've got the fire department sitting here, we've got the police department sitting here, why don't we go ahead and discuss their two budget items where they won't have to sit here all night and listen to all this other that we got going on. From what I personally have seen in the police budget, I don't reckon there's a page number on here.
Okay, well,
What's
if
our
y'all
line
are using,
for that?
if y'all are using the electronic version, that is line number 726.
My question on that was what's the employee training, education and training for the tune of $43,000?
That's Mayor, that's some of the stuff that we're mandated by law to keep certifications up on whatever training we have to be certification on K9, and we have to have a yearly certification. Each officer has to have 40 hours of certification to keep up the certification on the police department. If we lose that, then we're an uncertified police department.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Mayor, I had
Yes.
one question in regard to the wages number of 2.2 million. I was just wondering if that was just raises or were there any new employees for the police department?
That's fully staffed, but that's not adding any additional. It's just fully staffed.
No new patrol officers or detectives, is that correct?
Correct.
And are we at that point now?
No,
Fully
we
staffed.
have 2 vacancies right now.
Maybe 3 since yesterday.
That's a temporary.
Yeah.
He's feeling very religious. He's kind of holy these days.
Oh. He come by the post a while ago. He's feeling pretty good. So he said he'll be back Tuesday.
And how bad do we need 5 vehicles?
We had asked for 6, cut them down to 5. We're starting to get where we need to rotate out those old vehicles because of mileage and maintenance issues. But Chief, I'll let you speak to that. You got the gun.
Well, that's what we're coming up on the Explorers. If something happens to one, it happens to every one of them. And they're mileaging out. None of them's under warranty now. So that was our biggest concern. So we had to ask for a little bit more for the maintenance because we got to keep up what we have. I'd like to keep 5, and that would be a healthy rotation, and to get what cars we need them, and our fleet will always be revolving. We'll have half old, half new, but I think at some point in time, if we just stay with the older cars at some point in time will be without cars. So I don't want to get to that. So
How many miles does a vehicle have on it that you typically when you want to turn it over?
about 120, something right in there. And it's according to some of the cars we've deleted out because they've been just a money bag or money pit. We've had a couple of the old Crown Vics that was costing more to keep them up than it was to just delete them. And they're up in the salvage yard now, or waiting to be sold eventually. But none of them is got less than 100,000 on them. But you know, if you had to put a new motor in a car, it's worth $1,500. You're not really going to come out on that. So we're wanting to. We're not sure what we can even go with next time because Chrysler's. We didn't really want to go with the Chargers, but we went with the Chargers because they was the cheapest car. And we're hearing that Chargers changing their design and they're going to be up in price a little bit. And some of the options we need to have, we won't have. And we'll have to explore that closer to time when we buy them. Chrysler's got the deal that we can't actually even buy their cars. We can't order the cars till like December of each year. And it takes them from January to March to make this police cars. So we're always sort of behind the 8 ball on getting the cars if we buy the Chrysler cars, but it'll work out in the long run once we get a full rotation going. Right now we've got the last 5, we've got them ordered. They're here, they're in Tennessee right now. They're in Memphis, but probably this next couple of weeks they should be in Crossville.
When did we buy something like 40 Explorers, as I remember, 4 or 5 years ago?
It's been 5 years ago, I believe. Was
We,
when Rod Chope was still here.
yeah, we bought them all brand new. And
Yeah, I
so
believe it
now
was 30. I believe it was
Yeah, that is-
38.
Yeah, that is not a good way. That's the only time I've ever seen that done in my whole career with police vehicles. You try and keep them rotated so that you only have a minimum cost every year. But I think y'all financed that one, which I believe we have paid off now.
$4 million, I think it was. Seemed like.
Best
I
idea
have one
that
more
was-
question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I noticed where the 45,000 was deleted from the manager's recommendation for a resource officer's vehicle, and I'm concerned about that. Does that mean that we won't have a vehicle for the resource officer at all of our schools?
Yes, we'll still have the resource officers a vehicle. What was getting down to through the process of trading, what have you, the resource officers are sort of getting they're getting the leftover junk, but I think with the 5 that we'll get that it's coming, and if we are allowed to get 5 more, we should be able to get them in fairly decent vehicles. Actually, we've got one of the resource officers right now. He's not definitely assigned a car. We got one coming for him, but or in the swap outs when we do the swap outs. But his car went completely down, and it was going to cost us quite a bit of money to fix it. So we just elected not to fix it. And we've got him in one of the pool cars right now, which is working out pretty good because through the summer, and when the new Chargers come in, we can recycle one of the patrol vehicles down to him. So we'll take care of the resource officers very well.
How much do they drive in a day?
They'd really, in a day's time, probably just back and forth to home, or if they have some kind of special events, they might go back. But we utilize them in the summer, and especially they've been really handy to have during this pandemic. The schools have been closed. They've worked the road and actually have done everything and more that we've asked them to do. And that's actually how we found the one car that went down, because he was actually on patrol and putting a lot of mileage on it and driving the car. He had engine trouble with it. to begin with, but it started to show up, and that's why we just took him out of the car.
Well, the way I understand it, we've got 41 sworn police officers. Do we have 40 cars that are available, or do we just need 15 or 20 that are available because of the shifts and so forth?
Well, generally, if you have a take-home car, they last a whole lot longer. If you've got a car that runs 24/7, it doesn't take very long to get the miles on them. And if you've got an individual that's assigned to the car, he takes a whole lot better care of that car than he would one he just in for 12 or 8 hours or whatever the shift is. So I've seen it time and time again. It works better to have a take-home car because of the fact is they do take better care of the car. The maintenance is always up on it, and the fleet actually lasts a lot longer.
Well, I'm very much in favor of putting that 45,000 back in, Chief, as far as making sure that everybody's got a serviceable vehicle that they can take home. I agree with you 100% about the take-home situation, but if we've got 5 coming that are in Tennessee now and 5 more that won't be here till March or April, that's a year from now.
Yes, sir. And that's unfortunate about, and we're not even sure we can go with the Chrysler because that's the Chrysler setup. And, you know, and being responsible, we tried to be. We actually had it in our budget. We would had a little money to bought another couple cars. We had one that was wrecked. That would have been a replacement for the wrecked car. But, you know, we understand how budgets work, and it runs out, and because it's on the budget doesn't mean you can spend it. And so we went in this mode of planning that we could get the 5 cars that we're getting. If we go with Chrysler again, it will probably be March before we get the next bunch of 5, but it should cover us till we're in good shape right now. If we don't get one wrecked or the motor blows up in it or something like that. And actually, like the Ford Tauruses, we're probably going to stay away from those. The engines, we've had one down 4 months now because of the engine. They replaced the engine once, and it was still under warranty, thank goodness. But we replaced it once, and it lasted about 15,000 miles, and then it went out again. So we're going to try to have a tougher, whatever is available for us to buy that we can buy within our budget. That's what we'll try to buy.
Aren't the newer ones the Explorers?
I'm sorry, sir.
Aren't the newer ones the Explorers?
The newest ones coming will be the Dodge Chargers.
I know that, but the 38 we bought a while back, weren't they all Explorers?
In between that was the 2 Tauruses.
The big purchase was the Explorers, yes.
Yeah.
That was before Jesse was here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so I'm good on cars. $70,000 worth of laptops.
Yes, I questioned that and had a discussion with IT. Apparently, these computers are about 6 years old. They're on their last legs, so we thought it wise to replace them before they started going down one by one.
All right. Somebody else got any questions on the police department?
Have we spent the $40,000 on the new roof for the police department?
No, we haven't, sir. We had the hardest time getting anybody to come even look at the roof. Then when we finally got people to come, we had all the tornadoes and stuff in Cookville and around. So it was very hard to get a roofer to come. So we went to a builder to this. Well, we had a couple of leaks, and we really need the leaks fixed. And the builder come, he checked, he he temporarily fixed the roof. But what our biggest problem is the gutter system in this building. The gutter is a rubber bladder that runs along the whole building. And the solution is to put a real gutter in the building. What it is right now, we think we've got water. It runs in between the walls. And so we want this fixed but nobody's come to help us fix it, basically. And the builder, he submitted a bid, but we didn't know what to do on that, so we were going to open it up, and we're getting help to how to format the bid. But we should have a bid mechanism in place probably in the next little bit. Tim's going to help us get it, how to even format the bid process for the roof. I don't think we'll have to go with a new roof, but we will have to go with a gutter system.
Mr. Manager, is that $40,000 some of that you're going to put in the bucket?
We'll have to roll that funding forward, and then we'll put it in the bucket. Yep.
All right. Has anybody got anything else for the police department? All right. I've got the chief and assistant chief sitting here from the fire department.
Those are you that are using electronic, you're on line 803.
Do you have us? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
I can.
Okay.
I can.
You're a little faint.
How's that? Any better?
A little bit.
Okay.
I'll turn you up on my volume. That'll help. I do have a question on line 834. The $25,000 radio for maintenance, we have 50,000 in there. Is that what we're going to need for the contract with the county? Because you split it with the police department?
That's my understanding.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we were right on that line.
So what's the final number on that line?
It's correct, 15,000.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any questions on the fire department budget. Does anyone else have anything you need to pull up and discuss?
Nope.
Assistant chief beat me up pretty bad on it, so.
We tried to be good.
He begged a little bit too, though.
Just for turnovers.
Looks to me like the manager beat him up pretty good.
Well, y'all been good to us, so.
All right, well, that's all I've got for those guys personally.
Can we be deleted now, Mayor?
Sir?
Can we be deleted from the TV now?
Yes. Yes,
Nope.
You can go have supper.
Okay.
Deleted from the budget?
No, just deleted from the TV screen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all very much.
Okay, everybody just disappeared from my screen. Oh, here you come. Okay.
Hey, come on, what are you doing?
All right, Mr. Mayor, where do we want to go next? Back to the top?
I went back to the beginning.
And the spirit hovered over the water. Oh, sorry. That's a different beginning.
In the beginning, there was a budget.
Are we looking at revenues or expenses?
Well, I'm going past the intergovernmental revenue, working my way down.
I never did bring this up. Do I need to?
In the past few years, you have in public enterprise revenue, you've had miscellaneous revenue. You're not projecting any miscellaneous revenue next year.
Well, normally we'll put 10 or 15,000 in it just as a catch-all, just in case something comes up. So that's the only reason why we would. It's just something. It's not something that we know that's going to come up.
Okay. So to 18-19 budget, you had $89,000. That's pretty good miscellaneous.
Yeah.
I think that's when we,
through
so-
through April or through February, we've only got 4,000. So
Yeah.
something.
What line are we on? What line are you on?
We're on line 193, 190.
Public enterprise revenue.
Yes. Do you want me to pull this up to where you can see it on your screen?
Yes.
it's actually, the miscellaneous is line 189.
Did that pull it up for you?
Not
No.
yet. Not yet, but we'll get there.
Fred, you should have, you have a little Excel icon down there. If you click on that, that should bring it up.
You doing something over there?
Yeah, I got it.
Art, are you outside?
Okay, I didn't hit that.
I am.
Is that your dog barking?
No, I've been muted. Windy out here.
Did that bring it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. And on an iPad, it's very small, but I have my big screen.
Yeah, I've got a desktop. It's fine.
Okay. So basically, that question's irrelevant. I'm kind of wondering where you come up with $89,000 in 18-19, unless it was a sale of property or something.
I believe that's what it was. I think that's from the condo. Or the inn.
Oh,
I'll look it up and let you know what it is.
it don't matter. It doesn't matter. That was then. This is now.
Okay.
So we're moving on down the line.
Legislative board.
Is Fred's spreadsheet showing up fairly large for everybody so y'all can see it okay?
Oh, it's good enough.
Okay, I was just gonna say Fred could take that 100% and move it up a little bit if it'd make it bigger for you. But I mean, I can see it fine. I just want to make sure y'all could. I've got two screens though.
I do. Yeah, I do too. But it wouldn't hurt to move it up a little bit. I'm sure the iPads are.
Fred, you see that in the bottom right corner where it says 100%? You can slide that bar over just a little bit and it'll make it bigger.
Oh yeah. Uh-oh.
That might be a little too big.
You can
Yeah, you
also
cut-
zoom it on your iPad.
Woo!
Just hit the plus button, Fred, and that way it'll do it a little easier.
I can find it.
Right here.
You getting it.
While we're waiting on that, Mr. Mayor, we can ask one general question about health insurance now, I guess. Under the legislative board, we've gone from probably $30,000 to $46,000, which is a tremendous increase of 30-something%. Are more people getting insurance, or what? Did the rate go up? Why is there such a projected jump?
We budgeted this past year 45,000, and what I've done to get that 30,000 is just took 8 months into that actual figure of 19,994, and then multiplied it out times 12 to come up with that 30. So Robin does this for us, and she usually throws stuff in there just to make sure that we got enough, just in case we have new people come on board. The 10% or less, probably she uses 10% for increase for that. So she didn't this time, other than the fact that we may have people who may go off of insurance, may come back on insurance, may add people to insurance, things like that.
Well, you're only going to have 5 council members.
Right.
Well, we understand that part of it, but Robin used a 10% number for the budget across the board for all the employees' health insurance.
I think so, yes.
But you said that's to cover, is that to cover an increase?
Yeah, we won't get our number until we're actually past budget time, I believe.
We don't get it till November or December.
Right.
It runs January to December.
We did very good this year. Hopefully it'll repeat next year.
Boy, I hope you're right, Fred.
Well, you know, our numbers with the elective surgeries and a lot of that stuff cut out, unless we had some patients with the coronavirus, our costs have gone down significantly because there's been no elective surgery, and other visits, people have been reticent to see their doctors or have done telemedicine.
Don't you think that employee insurance number could drop about $10,000 pretty easy?
Shit, I want it to drop $150,000.
Well,
it's
I'm just
about
talking.
$1.2 million now, isn't it?
I'm just talking on the legislative board.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I divided 20,000 by 8 and then multiplied it by 12 and for sure didn't get 46. Fred.
I understand. So we want to go down to 36 with that?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine at this juncture.
I'd go 37.4 as a 10% increase from last year.
Okay.
Not getting any younger.
Well, I think what I got was the $30,000 number plus 10% would be 33 instead of 46.
But if you go back to your actual cost, 18-19 was 3409. So that's what I'm basing it at 10% off of.
Yeah, I understand. But what I'm doing is looking at the actual numbers.
That's what I said. I don't know that 30,000, right? We had an increase. And so it doesn't make sense to have 30,000 instead of 3409 when you had an increase over what you were the year before. You can't have an increase with a baseline of 34,000 and come up with 30,000. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the projected number is low is what I'm saying.
Knowing how health insurance works, I'd say it's probably low.
Okay, we're gonna go with 37.4 or 40,000.
37.4.
There you go.
That's good with me.
Same here.
River City Court.
Oh,
I'm
it's
good
on,
with that budget.
put it on the screen, Fred.
Up there.
Why am I not seeing it?
It's a very short line. It's line number 242 if you're looking on your.
I am, but I'm trying to see what Fred's presentation is.
It's 20,000 per diem, 7,500 insurance, 3,500 education and training, and that's the total budget.
Is that health insurance?
Oh, there it is. I see it.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I think we can decrease it 1,000.
It's kind of looking like maybe this whole insurance deal needs to be relooked at.
Yeah, I do too, Mr. Mayor. I do too.
You want to go to 65 with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Greg, I'm assuming a decent amount of time was spent coming up with these numbers that you've got for health insurance, correct?
Those were Robin's numbers. She spent some time on them, but since we don't know the number, we err on the side of caution.
She'll have more in it than you and I would if we were doing it.
Well, I understand that there's 6 months of the old cost, July through December, but there's the new cost of January through the 8th month. So I anticipated that if we do have a 10% increase, half of that has already been allowed for as far as actual costs are concerned.
Greg, have you gotten any kind of indication as what the increase would be this year? I'm assuming no.
No.
I think based on what has happened, I think this, if there was ever a year of no increase, I think it would be this year.
That's assuming the healthcare costs stay the same. With everything that's been going on, I have no idea which direction that could go.
Well, our loss ratios, Mr. Mayor, are down from years before in the city, according to what our city manager said.
Well, when you look at central staff, 1920 is projected to be $94,000, and the recommendation for 2021 would be $93,000.
Huh. Wow.
So maybe we should let those other ones alone so we can make up for this one.
Is it possible there's one or two less people in that now?
No, we got the same amount of people.
And are we self-insuring part of that? I think we are, aren't we?
What we do is we have a high deductible plan, and we cover the gap between the 2,500 and the high deductible. That's your HRA.
Right.
What if I look at all that stuff tomorrow again, as far as the insurance goes, what we've actually done so far through the end of April, and then project it on, and then me and Mr. Wood get together and decide what we need to do with it and get back with you.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we need
to get bogged down on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's wise.
Anybody got anything else on the central staff down there?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, we got the IT department coming up.
Thank God Almighty. How many people are in the IT department?
2.
And their employee insurance is $33,000. Yeah, we're gonna have to take a look at that health insurance, aren't we?
Yes. I'll look at it tomorrow, and Mr. Wood and I'll get together and we'll decide what we need to do. Let you know.
The hell, oh Pete.
Fred, got a question.
Okay.
How does it show up on here when you are on a family plan?
It doesn't. That is just that employee insurance. It just hits all at once right there. And you don't know whether you're on a family plan, whether you've got children, whether you're just single or anything like that. So that's one of the things that Robin does, is keeps up with those things on each department, the employees in that department. And that's how she keeps up with this.
Well, I have to assume with the insurance being that high in that department, those surely are family plans. But
yes,
I know
I'm
part
sure
of
they
that's
are.
being paid. Part of that's being paid by the employee, a big portion of it. Does that show up somewhere else, or is that the net cost right there?
No, this is the total cost right here.
Okay, so then we have an income. I don't know if it shows up as income, but where it's taken out of someone's check to cover, where part of that's covered if they're on a family plan, correct?
We do. How is that done? I think it just hits a payable and then we use that payable to pay it. So it's really the total figure is hitting right here, I think.
Golly. Well, there's 5 of us covered in the, as far as the council is concerned, and if there's only 2 employees, I'm like Scott, there's something.
Like I said, we'll check it tomorrow and we'll get back with you.
Yes, sir.
So I guess that means we can't say the word health insurance anymore.
Yes, sir. I hear you, Scott. I just thought, well, 5 of us is 46,000 and 2 of us is 33. I just wondered about that.
Yeah. Can you tell us about the truck in is it IT needing a truck, or is that engineering? Engineering needing a truck.
Tim can tell you that, but he's got a pretty sad looking, I think it's an old Jeep. Tim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. We've got a 2000 Jeep. I think it's in the mid 90,000 miles, but it's 21 years old. Also with my budget, we didn't get the GIS flyover. They missed it because of all of the clouds.
Oh.
And, so we're not going to spend any of that money this year. We need to carry that money over to next year. It's possible they might be able to get it in the fall, but more than likely it'll be next spring.
Are we under contract with them?
We're under contract with 911 for the new ortho photos with better accuracy. the council approved it in September 2019. The total project's 50,800 and some odd change.
I understand. I'm just wondering if we're committed, or if, I mean, I realize we said we would, but there's a lot of things that people said they would do that they're not able to do now in the country. I'm wondering if we're contractually obligated.
I don't believe we signed a contract, but 911 may have signed a contract with the aerial photography company, and I think we don't want to put them in a bind if they're in a contract. I can check on that tomorrow, but we've actually got it set up to where we can pay half of it 1 year and half of it the following year. So the total expense next year is going to be a little under 26,000. So if Fred wanted to reduce that down to, I think
13.
Well, he's dividing it up 3 ways. I've only got a third of it in my budget. So
If you wanted to go 26, then we just divide that by 3.
yeah, so basically 9,000 in each budget rather than the 15. That would cover us. But that would be an expense that would also incur in the budget year 21-22.
And this, if memory serves, this would help you with locating manhole covers and valve covers and a lot of things you can't quite see now, right? So.
Yes, and it would definitely help us with getting a better accuracy. Would definitely help us with any acquisitions that we do, because currently the photographs that we have today, we have to skew them, and we actually have to tell people that they're off considerably in several places.
So it's a multiplier for the engineering department to be able to have it.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I can see where it'd be tempting to put it off, but it would be like having an extra hand in your office.
I don't believe we've updated to this accuracy in over 10 years.
Okay. All I got.
Everybody okay with the engineering?
I'm good with it.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Stormwater?
Fred, on the stormwater, you can take out the stream test, and that's not going to be required this year.
Yay.
Do I need to leave a couple $100 in there for something, contractual services of some kind?
Go ahead and leave 400. We will not be doing the benthic sampling, but we will be doing some actual E. coli testing.
Okay.
God.
Planning commission. Anybody got anything on that one?
Got no insurance.
City Hall building.
Nope.
What's I see 5,000 and 10,000 for LED. What's
The 5,000, 10,000 what was requested, 5,000 is what we cut it in half to.
okay.
The one underneath that says the 10,000 crack seal. That's in this 20,000 that was projected for 1920, the one that we're in right now. They decided to do that.
Are you having any serious issues with the roof?
Not yet, but it's coming.
We've also got some issues with some windows on the 3rd floor.
It's actually not the windows on the 3rd floor. It's actually the seal on the 4th floor.
Okay.
According to our city engineer, and I take his word for it.
We might ought to consider getting that fixed. We don't want water running down from the 4th to the 3rd floor.
Tim thinks maintenance can fix it. If not, we may need to get a contractor in.
Ooh.
So the crack seal discussion, it's not going to be done this budget year. We're moving it, just pulling it up from.
Well, and we may, when we're doing the crack seal at the, have you been tested, sir? When we did the crack seal at the airport, we got some of those machines and got Kevin's guys trained on them. We may decide to try and do that in-house. We'll see.
Go. Okay.
Maintenance?
Not going to say it.
Well, just I want to point out that we cut out a dump truck, believe a pickup truck and a mower. Some juncture, if something happens, we may need to look at dipping into reserve or fund balance if they get in bad shape, but we're putting it off for a year. So that's 134,000 that we moved out of the line items.
That's good.
Admin?
What are the yellow? What's the yellow mean?
I cut that from the prior year budget down from 25 to 20. Yellow is usually something that I looked at and I may or may not have changed.
Okay. So back to the publicity for a second, marketing, whatever that was. So this is that pass through of the grant or something? Is that what's going on here?
No.
That's our website development and that's the city's side of stuff, plus dues and subscriptions that we have under that.
Oh.
We have, and I think it costs us for web hosting as well, doesn't it, Fred?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, they usually do.
I hate to bother you again about this, but why do we have health insurance when we don't have any wages?
That's for those people who are retired.
Thank you.
And reappraisal of properties, is that a?
It's an annual charge.
County does that every year and sends us a portion of it or half of it.
I see.
Not the city's part, but half of the whole bill, right?
Right. Everybody through with that?
Yep.
We went through police. We went through fire. And we're down to codes.
Under codes, he asked me to take 10,000 out of demolition and put that under probably publicity dues and subscriptions. He has a software package that he wants to implement, and I've been after him for years, so I was happy for them to do that, which will allow them to online building permits, applications, plus they'll be able to, if somebody comes in and applies for a building permit while they're in the field and it's 3 blocks from where they're at, they can download that while they're in the field and go do that inspection. It's something I've been wanting for a long time. That will come to you at the next council meeting, but that's a change that we're going to make. It's not a change in the bottom line. It's just a change in allocation.
I need you to back up on this mixed drink on the school share.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
That is a percentage of what, Fred?
That's half of our mixed drink monies that comes from the state shared.
That's half of the mixed drink that comes from state shared taxes. And I'm looking that our mixed drink, you've got at $80,000 worth of revenue and $45,000 going to the school. You need to fix that.
Okay.
Half of 80 is 40.
Got it.
Where are you getting 80?
It's up in the income.
Under mixed drink.
Up above. Okay.
Yeah, way up
It's
there.
what it's
That's fine.
well, I'm looking at, they had to print one out for me. I can't see. It's just too small. I can't see it. It's account number 33540 on the written document.
You mean you can't see it?
On the codes, what we did was move the publicity and made it 16,000 and dropped the demolition down to 15,000.
Correct.
So that added 10 more up there, and that's what they think that new software is going to be a little bit more than that, but they had some in there to cover that. Highways and streets.
As Tim looked at our streets, I understand we cut the paving budget from 600,000 to 400,000. Do we think that's going to be okay?
I've been working. Go ahead, Tim.
The street department superintendent's handling all of that.
He's going to try and get some stuff wrapped up this budget year that'll put us in good shape, and he's got a plan for using that money next year. We're going to try some other things as far as maybe some micro resurfacing to try and stretch those dollars next year.
But this is not carrying over Webb Avenue, is it?
No,
what I'm
but
saying is Webb Avenue is supposed to be fixed between
Correct.
now and June the 30th, right?
Correct. And if it's not, then we'll need to roll that income forward because the revenue will come with it.
We don't need any more salt equipment. I agree with you.
And I cut out a bunch of sidewalks. Some sidewalks to nowhere for some of them.
There's the Durapetcher. Okay.
It's already paid for, and it has been doing a great job. They're really happy with it. If you go by the theater, the one patch that's held now for about 2 years is the one that they did with the Durapatcher when they were demonstrating it. It just holds up a lot better than a coal patch.
Which theater?
The Rocky Top.
Oh,
I
down
know,
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know which patches to look for. I mean, if you don't know which patches to look for, it won't mean anything to you. But I go by there, and every time I look at it, and I go, still holding.
Funny what you start noticing, isn't it?
Greg, how old is our street sweeper?
It had to go in for some repairs this last time around. It's getting long in the tooth, but we spent some money on it, hopefully to get it through another year.
Yeah, I got you, but those things don't last very long. And it can't be repaired inexpensively. It has been my experience.
No, we just spent about $6,700 on it to get it back on the road.
That's good. I hadn't seen it in a while.
It was in the
A
shop.
long while.
They just went to get it, I think.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. The next thing you know, Mr. Mayor, it'll be a $50,000 bill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming up.
Solid waste is next. Garbage pickup, the landfill.
We're getting pretty close to being out of post-closure requirements on that thing, hopefully. Tim, do you know how many more years we have on that?
I think 2024 is the last year.
Okay. There's an end in sight.
Cemetery is next. Parks and Recreation.
Our wages may be lower in that since we may not have any summer hires this year.
Well, on our cemetery, we had $50,000 in the budget last year.
We had a longtime employee that passed away and we hired somebody that less wages.
And don't need any help.
Wow. $16,000 savings.
Parks and Recreation.
If you don't open the ball fields, your electric bill won't be so high.
If leagues don't play this summer, that's correct. Also, your costs will be down for your summer hires and if we don't start up the splash pad, that'll save some electricity too. But hopefully, we'll get that running 1st of July. Or 1st of June, something.
There you go. I don't see anything else there. Concessions looks good.
Concessions doing great. Meadow Park Lake.
What were we going to do with the horseshoe pavilion for $50,000?
I don't know. Let it out.
Burn it.
It does. Concrete don't burn. Seriously.
I think they were looking at enclosing that building because there's one end is secure and the other end's wide open.
Okay.
But we're not doing that this year.
No.
Wow.
Meadow Park Lake.
Yeah, on that resetting the breakwater, we're probably going to put a couple of our fire department divers down there and see if that's a possibility that they can resecure that. We got no bids on it this time around, so we may avoid that cost. And we didn't spend any money on game fish this year because the fishing derby didn't happen. But hopefully we'll have that back up again next year.
She had talked about some motors for some of the things, said the motors they had out there for those boats were getting old, but I don't think they're in here. And they were, well, we probably took them out.
Well, there's that $10,000 facility maintenance thing covers a bunch of the stuff. It covers some concrete for the piers, for that bridge. It covers some repair on the boat docks. I don't see us doing the ADA campsite this year. We'll just kind of have to spread it out.
$27,000 worth of boat dock bumpers.
No, that's just that whole line carried down. That's just your total of all that is your 27,000.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, I'm good.
Palace Theater. This one's a crapshoot. We don't know when we're going to get to open it back up, and we might have to think about doing some other things on down the line. Ronnie's going to retire in September. We'll just have to see how this all plays out.
Well, that's bad news.
Depot.
What are you going to do instead of fixing the roof at the Palace?
It was the walls that were leaking. And that's currently getting all pointed and sealed up. So that should stop the majority of our leaks.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard there were up to 2-inch cracks in places. So what have you done down here at the capital outlay on the depot?
Just looking at some possible lighting and some painting. And we may not even need to do that, but.
Well, you got 5,000 in the recommendation, and you got 1,500 off beside it.
That's 1,500 for some deck lights and 1,200 for paving, for painting, and then the rest just general stuff.
Oh, okay. Stuff.
Tree board. But just skip it and going into the outside agencies.
But I cut into these a bunch, and you may or may not agree with them. So you all definitely make the policy decision about that. You notice I cut the trails down from their normal 10,000. They had 20,000 last year to 2,000 the upcoming year. I think that's one thing that that can wait. Some of these others perform more services. Chamber of Commerce, we've got 60,000 in there, and then we have another 30,000 in hotel motel tax. We need to look at how you want that allocated.
What do you mean by that, Greg?
If you want, if you want to do the 6, I didn't cut them at all, and then there's an additional 30,000 sitting in hotel motel tax that we did as kind of a bonus this last time around, and that needs to be looked at as well. So I'm just telling you, it's in 2 different places.
Well, do you think we'll have it to give? I know the that was one of my questions, where we're going to have 150 in hotel motel tax.
Fred says we have some surplus to carry forward, but no, we probably, I'm thinking probably more like 120, 130,000 this year.
We don't have on this what they are asking for, correct? I'm assuming each one of these agencies has sent something in requesting an amount, correct?
Correct. Did I not send you a digital thing of that?
I don't
I haven't
recall
gotten
them.
it.
No.
I don't know what I done with it. I'll get it to you tomorrow.
I'd like to just hold off, wait till we got that, then to really discuss this one.
Okay.
Me too, Scott. I'd like a real good look at what the actual numbers are going to be for the hotel motel tax, what our surplus is going to be, and then look at, I know Art is very animate about the 30,000 that goes for the chamber, and I'd like to look at it too.
You want me to pull the hotel motel thing up right now?
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Where is it on in my budget here?
It's got its own little deal on 3 pages of it.
Well, I haven't seen it in what you produced in the budget.
Huh, okay.
So can we assume that 25,000 or 24,000, that's what we have in reserves? 24,000 it's under?
Right now, probably yes. We're assuming that we're going to get 100,000 motel tax instead of 150 that we thought was going to get this year. And then all those expenditures are, you got 20,000 sports council, 30 to the chamber, 45 to the visitor center, and the playhouse was going to get 30. And that's added up to that 125,000.
Whoa, look at that.
But I think we already have an actual of 116,000 after 8 months, almost 117,000. We're probably going to get about 30,000 added on to that. So that's for this upcoming year. So I think
150.
so that, but the FY 2021 budget of 100,000.
We'll be lucky to get that, I'd say.
That's one of the areas that we think, we get, well, looking at this last round, we had almost 10,000 in the height of the virus. So, and that's not peak season. So hopefully we'll see at least 100,000. But we haven't spent all ours, and I cut the sports council down to 20,000. Visitor center, I don't think we can change. Playhouse, I held harmless. Then you're gonna have to decide what to do with the chamber. So you may want to move some between the chamber and the playhouse, but the playhouse is gonna need some marketing funds when they get spun back up. That's for sure.
But how much surplus are you going to have, or that we didn't spend this year again?
Fred's gonna have
Out
to
of
give
that 150?
Fred's gonna have to give you that number.
Yeah. Okay. right.
I'll get it to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I was showing Mr. Wood this morning that we had about $100,000 worth of cash, but we don't know how much of that is going to have to be spent here in just the next few days.
Yeah.
We still owe, I don't know what we owe the chamber, and I don't know what we owe the playhouse. We've already done the allocation for the sports council. And I don't know where we are on the visitor center. So those three numbers, we'll have to find out how much we paid of that obligation, and then we'll know. Because we went ahead and paid that payment to the Playhouse. I think in early March, I believe, I ran the check over personally.
Well, Fred, on the visitor center, when do they give you an accounting on how much we owe them back?
Well, the visitor center is always 45,000. They don't give us an accounting. They just say,
okay,
45,000 is what we owe them.
Yeah, the
And
question
we're
is,
not-
the question
I was
is,
thinking
this year on it.
I was thinking of the animal shelter, I guess.
Yeah.
is that a comment on the visitor? No. I don't know if they're going to give us any kind of rebate. I'm not sure if they're going to give us any kind of rebate since they were closed for a month or so.
Are we ready to go back to general fund?
No, that 30,000 that you had there on the chamber, the additional 30 out of the hotel motel.
Yes.
Was that not something to do with additional marketing or something?
Yes,
no,
it was.
I think that we've been paying it just like a monthly thing, just like we did the other 60,000.
Well, I know that it wasn't designated specifically like the Playhouse was on the marketing deal.
Yeah, it was an extra, as I recall, it was an extra ask by the council or by the when the previous director was there.
Yeah, we could. I don't know, because I hadn't seen what they've requested. I was thinking you could probably cut that $10,000, but I'm like Scott. I've not seen the request that these people are talking about now.
And they're basically down to a staff of 2 right now, so that could probably save them some money.
Well, I'm sure they want to bump that up, and then back on your Friends of the Trails, you got that on grants, contributions, and other
Right
for
there.
$2,000, and you got it on outside agencies for $2,000. You got it in 2 places.
Is that counted twice, or is that just part of your thing, Fred?
Now, where'd you
Counted
say it
twice.
was? Where'd you say it was?
It's under outside agencies, the
Uh-huh.
bottom line, and it's also under grants, contributions, and other, right in the middle.
Okay, let's get rid of it.
Okay.
Look at that cool arrow. Fred, you doing that? Putting those drawings on there and everything?
Be
Now,
pretty sharp.
that's somebody else.
You
I
have
don't
been.
draw like that.
Since we're talking about Friends of the Trails, personally, I really hate to see us cut that.
I haven't seen their request. And then all of these
I'll get it to
are
you in the
still up for
morning.
discussion.
I'll get it to you in the morning and we can discuss it the next time.
I think we need to get the numbers of the things that we have discussed before we even get into all the outside agencies.
Okay, well, you want to go ahead and go through your
That's my
airport?
thought.
You want to go through Public Works and airport?
What about the marketing, the rest of the
Yeah.
marketing, the grants and things like that for down through there?
What are you talking about? Oh, that's what I want to hold off on.
The grants?
See, I'd like to hold on those.
Because that was outside
So
agencies
far.
a few minutes ago. That was outside
And-
agencies that we were talking about. Now here's the grants for the golf and things like that.
Now, the question is, do we want to try and do Waterfest this year?
Repeat that?
Do we want to try and do Waterfest this year or not?
When is that?
July?
flag.
Well, that's something you can chew on, and when you see this stuff,
As I see them, I keep comparing that to having a property tax increase, and I sure would rather not have a property tax increase in the current circumstances.
well, then let's cut a whole bunch of other stuff.
I understand. That's what we're talking about.
Well, we need to understand that we've got $14 million in the general fund as well. And I'm not opposed to using some of these reserves we've built up over the years to keep some of these things going without a property tax increase.
Well, and we may hit another downdraft next fall too. So we got to make sure we're covered.
Well, I'm
Well, I would
perfectly
say-
comfortable. I'm perfectly comfortable with a $18 million budget to have $9 million in the general fund rather than 14.
All right, we got debt service. That's the cost of the principal interest coming up for this coming year.
Well, let's cut that.
Yeah. Public Works.
What are all the double X's for?
That's just some things that I was putting in and taking out and checking and adjusting and whatever.
That's Fred code.
Yeah, for nothing.
So we don't have anything in the HRA for them?
No, they just have the one lady that works in that department, and we're just hoping that she don't have any problems.
Oh, okay.
Man, hit $218 this year. We're hoping that took care of our problems.
Oh. Okay.
40.
All right, we're going to the municipal. Is that okay? The airport?
Yep.
Okay. Then you get down to the capital outlay down here and look at that. Most of those are 95.5. So when you get there.
What's the deal on that fuel truck out there? Is that the
That's
That's
the
the
one that
FBO.
we sold.
it's FBOs?
That's the FBOs.
Nice.
You're probably taking a beating on that right now with that jets not flying though.
I don't see any projection here on the Northwest Connector Section 3. I think we've been turned loose to start acquiring some right-of-ways, acquisitions. We've been turned loose on that, I believe, haven't we, Tim? Although we don't have an approved plan yet.
Section 2 is the section you're talking about. Section 3 is the one that we just finished acquiring the right of way.
Well,
The middle section is what you're looking at.
right, okay, yeah, I got my wires crossed, but there'll be more on 3, thanks to our T-Dot buddies.
Hopefully you'll get that all resolved when you go talk to them.
I don't think we're gonna be able to get it all resolved. Just hopefully 40 of those particular properties will get resolved.
There's 29 tracks, Mayor, that I guarantee you we're going to have problems with. That the rules changed, Your Honor. The rules changed, according to what I've read.
Yeah,
Golly dogs.
yeah, it's what they say. But we'll see how that goes.
I'm all for you, Mayor.
All right, well, I guess we're good to go. You'll get some follow-up information from Fred on the things that we didn't have. And
What is your-
revise. What?
What is your thought on the one-time bonus with 1.5% going to the lower paid and 0.5% going to the higher paid, and then 1% to the folks in the middle? That is not in this budget, but we need to know if you all want it in there, because right now the employees are getting no pay raises.
What's the total, Greg?
Almost 65.
Okay,
I'm for it.
I'm for it.
Raise that would have been going in, how much would that have been?
About another 300,000, 200,000, somewhere in there.
Yes.
I'm for it.
So we did the first phase, we've completed
Correct.
that, and so then we had one more phase, right?
We had 2 more phases, and that's why I in the fund added for that. That was the logic behind that.
Greg, you're gonna need to repeat that because you broke up on that, what you just told us.
You're breaking up. Copy.
Everybody's breaking up all of a sudden.
I think you did that on purpose, Greg.
If I could do that on purpose, I wouldn't be in this job. I think there's about another 200,000 in the next phase, and about another 100,000 in that following phase. There's 2 more raises, but like I said, we've frozen. We are allowing hiring on a case-by-case basis, but we've frozen it in general. Frozen wages.
How much was the first phase that we've already done?
It was over 600,000.
It was the hardest hit.
Right. And that was my logic behind the property tax. At some juncture, we're going to need to get to the point where we're not doing deficit spending, but that's really just the policy decision. It's my duty. I'm supposed to bring you a balanced budget, and how you fund it and change it after that is up to you.
Yeah.
I think after we look at health insurance, Mr. Mayor, I certainly want him to go ahead and put that other 60 or 70,000 in the budget for those folks. They need it the most.
Do we want to address water and sewer or anything else tonight?
I'm give out.
Second.
I agree.
We need to plan. We need to plan.
Well, when are we going to meet again?
That's one question, and then we're also going to need to set a public hearing for the capital improvement plan and the budget. I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen. You might just have to take input by email or something, and Valerie will have to sit there and read emails on public comment. And if they don't comment in 5 minutes, then I guess the comments are closed. I don't know.
When's the next budget hearing?
How about next Tuesday?
The 19th.
19th. Does that give everybody enough time to absorb all the other information Fred's going to get us, including water and sewer? Which
Fred, can you get me a new budget for the general fund with the corrections for health insurance and the changes that we made today?
Yes.
You can get that to me when?
Probably tomorrow evening. We'll, me and Mr. Wood will look at that insurance in the morning, and then we'll go from there. I'll get it to you as soon as I can, either tomorrow or Monday one.
Well, I like your $8,000 number for health insurance that you used. I noticed you did that in several instances in 2 or 3 or 1 employees. And I noticed that that's what you did as far as the legislative body is concerned. You just took 8,000 and 5 of us. That's how you came up with the 40,000. So it's important that we really look at that.
Okay.
Be sure you get Robin to help you.
Yeah, I will, but she's off tomorrow, so I'll figure something out.
Okay.
What time are we planning on meeting? I know we typically do it at 5, but I'm just going to throw something out. Do we have to meet at 5 o'clock? Can we meet any earlier? We're going right through my dinner time.
Board's fine with me.
That's how we get you done quicker if you're hungry.
I can't get back by 4. 5 is good. I can get back by 4:30.
4:30 is fine.
Rob?
I'm okay with 4:30.
Okay, we'll tell Rob it's at 4.
Yeah, tell Rob it's at 4.
Here now. All right. So here's
4:30 next Tuesday.
The financial issues and questions. I'd like to put that first next Tuesday at 4.
Okay.
4:30.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
There's too many combinations if we don't settle those things. Trying to come up with options.
And Scott, it's okay with us if you eat while you just don't make any loud noises or smacking.
Just mute and go ahead and eat.
Well, something I just learned with using Zoom that really comes in handy is I'm keeping mine on mute, and all I do is press the space bar and talk. And then when I'm talking, so I guess you saw that I just went blank there for a minute. So it's pretty slick, and that way we don't have to hear James's dogs bark, and we don't have to hear JH. Something's going on at JH's today. And so when you talk, you press the space bar. Just a thought. That only works if you're on a laptop, though.
Well, let's see. So if we go to.
Is that any better?
Say put yourself on mute, and then when you talk, just hold down your space bar.
Yeah, it's working.
While I'm doing it.
I'm doing it on a desktop.
Especially if you're going to cuss, you need to hit it.
Noted.
Mayor doesn't allow no cussing.
Well, these mics are much more sensitive than the mics on the dais, is all I got to say.
Yep. All right, gentlemen. And Valerie, thank you, Val.
See you guys.
Meeting's adjourned. We'll meet again Tuesday.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.